Today we're going to cut some hearts. I am getting my scissor and I'm going to show you how to cut a heart. First, get a piece of paper, preferably a rectangle paper, and you're going to fold it in half. Now, let's look at this paper for a minute. It has an opening and then it has a spine. And it's important to know that those two sides, because we're going to need to cut on the spine. So when you get to the spine, you're going to go all sort of to the top part, not all the way, and make a little curvy line. Notice that's a curvy line. And then you're going to make a diagonal line to that curvy line and connect it. There's a little imperfection on the paper, but there essentially is our heart. If it's not a perfect heart, you can go ahead and work with it, like cut off some of those little imperfections, and there you have a heart. So let's do that again, now with a different color paper. You're gonna get yellow. What do you do next? Remember? Yes, we fold it. Okay. And now we have two identifiable parts of this fold. The opening, it's like a mouth, the mouth, and the spine. Okay, and then where do we cut our curvy line? At the bottom or at the top? What do you remember? Yes, at the top. You're gonna make a curvy line. And then one thing you might wanna do is just make a diagonal line. This is a straight line. You're gonna make a diagonal line to the corner. And if you did a good job, your cut should look like kind of an ice cream cone before you open it. So now we're gonna open it, and there's our heart. And again, you can cut off the little edges. Okay. Now the goal is that eventually you should just be able to do it without drawing it. Some of my kids like to draw, some of my kids like to get a pencil and draw that, the curvy line plus the diagonal line. But it's much easier if you just learn how to do it yourself. So you kind of go up and down and then diagonal across. That was a one swoop. There you go. Another heart. Let's try it one more time with another pink one. All right, let's do it one more time. This is the opening. This is the spine. I'm gonna do it all in one blow. Like, ready? Around till you get to the semicircle, and then you're gonna put your scissor at a diagonal and cut towards the spine. Open it up. There you have your heart. I like to take away these. I like it when it's nice and sort of rounded. Okay, so now I want to show you something interesting about these papers. This is the negative space of our shapes that we made. So when you make collages, these are also really interesting shapes to work with. You might want to use that. Maybe glue this on top of this, and boom, you have a heart already. So you might want to save these to also use in your collage. Here is the yellow one. And it doesn't matter that it's broken, because when you glue it down, it's not going to look broken. Okay? Look, if you put another behind it, you've got a really nice orange heart and the background being yellow. Okay, now I'm going to show you some fun things that you can do with hearts. Once you learn how to cut it, you can make different size hearts. You can make lots of little hearts. That's one. That's 2. And look at the negative space here. How cool is that? And let's put another color behind it just to make it show up a little more. Nice. You can use that to make cards. So do not throw these away. These are really, really valuable for this purpose right here. And let's look at our little hearts. Look at these cute little hearts. And you can even overlap these hearts. What does that mean? Lots of love. Or you can overlap them sort of like the nesting dolls. Overlap the hearts. You can use these to make your cards. All right, one other thing I like to do is cut a heart in a heart. So I'm gonna go ahead, and another way to do it is if you wanna do it the reverse way, which is a triangle and then a curvy line. So that's doing it reverse. There we go. Now I'm gonna cut a heart in here. Okay, so I'm gonna fold it again. And again, the opening, spine. And this time I'm gonna cut along the line, nice and even, and look what happened. I have a tiny little heart, and then we have this heart, which is really neat. And then you can glue these on other papers, different color papers. There's so many possibilities. And one last one I want to show you is, let me do it with a yellow heart, is cut a heart and then cut an upside down heart. So I'm going to cut round and diagonal. Make sure it looks like an ice cream cone. There we go. Now what I'm going to do is cut a heart so it's upside down. So I'm going to fold it, the bumpy part down here, and I'm going to cut a tiny little heart. And let me show you the results. It's easier to see it if I put a paper behind it. There. So you see? So it's a heart the correct way, and an upside down heart. You can even glue this out here. Very cool. Awesome. So we made a lot of different hearts today. Oops, I do have one more heart that I thought would be neat. And for that one, you might need to make a big heart. Start with a big heart. So I'm going to start with a big heart. Again, if it looks like an ice cream cone when it's folded, it's probably correct. There we go. So now we're gonna do a spiral out of this heart, and just start anywhere and just keep going around. Just follow. Notice the heart is getting smaller and smaller, and it's losing its shape a little bit. That's okay. And then what you might want to do is cut it or glue it on your paper like this. So weirdly enough, if you get, let me show you a background. So here is a black background. If you were to glue this down, there wouldn't be any gaps. But if you were to cut this spiral in half, now that's going to be a little difficult. I'm just going to cut it in half. It's like you're going right down the line and going to be very careful to cut it in half. And it's gonna try not to get so tangled up. I mean, it's gonna be really neat. You'll see. Now, it's only gonna work out if you don't mess up. So be really, really careful. As I'm saying that, I'm trying really hard not to mess up. Okay, oops, almost there. So pretend it's like long string, a ribbon, and you're cutting that whole ribbon in half. So you're gonna have 2 hearts. I'm gonna slowly and gently separate them. Okay, so look, the coolest results. Look at that. Isn't that neat? Now the coolest part is that you actually have 2. So you're gonna like gently unravel this heart, and there you have 2 hearts. You might even want to make a card or a poster where you have it tangled a little bit, and you could say tangled hearts. Very romantic. Anyway, these will be great for anytime you want to make a card for someone, or you want to make a gift for them, or you just want to add it to your collage. Have a wonderful day. And now let's get some practice in.